Well, AD Plus isn't ARPA. I actually agree with David that it's better for UKIP to have that rather than AD. AD is what's being proposed, and that's better than first past the post. So I agree with Nigel that we should support that if it's what's going. But ladies and gentlemen, surely this in some extent is missing a trick here. The coalition is happy to offer the British people a referendum on AD, maybe on AD Plus, maybe on PR. They've had a referendum on the Mayor of London, having Mayor of London. The real important initials are EU, yeah? We want a referendum on a membership of the EU. And can I just say the founding leader of the party at that time, that is what I'm going to be repeating loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Simple question from Owen Bromley in Bromley. If not elected, what will be your involvement with UKIP? Nigel Farage.
I said at the start today, I've been here for 17 years, I've stood in elections, I've spoken at 1,000 public meetings. I've not always been happy with the leadership of the party and the direction in which it's gone, but I never once have spoken out in public against the party in any way at all, and I will not do so. I am the loyalist to this party and this cause, and whatever happens to me in this election, I will remain so.
Basically, as I've said, I've been party chairman, I've been deputy leader, I've been head of policy, I've served this party as loyally as I can, and I will continue to serve very loyally as an MEP. What I can't do is serve under people that don't believe in policies, like Tim and Nigel, because that does not take us where this party needs to go. So if these guys win, I'm going to step back, I'll stay in UKIP, I'll stay working loyally as an MEP. But there's no point, because unless we have policies, we don't get MPs, we don't get our referendum, Tim, and you don't believe in policies. We don't get our referendum, we don't get out, we don't succeed. So we need policies to succeed, and that's why I'm fighting this election for the leadership. Thank you.
So you're a quitter, Tim, David. I'll withdraw this from the EU.
Let me just make clear, I do believe in policies, and the central policy, of course, is withdrawal from the European Union. That is the central policy, and that is the reason why this party exists. The notion that I don't believe in policy is, I'm afraid, quite absurd. I wrote more pamphlets for the Centre for Policy Studies in the 1970s, 1980s than anybody, and I in effect set the agenda on economic policy for the Thatcher government. That's how I contribute to policy, my dear friend. And that is, also, can I just say, I've written lots and lots about single currency and European Union in all sorts of ways. There is a larger cause out there, the intellectual cause. I believe in that one. I want now to help in the political cause. That's why I want to be your leader. Thank you.
No, I'm not in the habit of criticising people, but David, I take harshly and I find very embarrassing the fact that you say people don't believe in policy. We're all looking at policy right now, right in front of us. It's what leads us all. It's what's brought us all here today, to form policy. So every man on this table knows that we have to reform the policy. Now, when I came into this party, they said that after the first year, and if I didn't get my way, I'd be gone. I stuck to my task. I'm here today challenging for the leadership. And if I don't become leader of UKIP, it doesn't matter, because I have a mission and an allegiance to the people. There are people out there who have no voice, as I told you, and my work hasn't even begun yet. I'm just glad that I'm involved in a party that has taken me on board to recognise me, and the icing's on the cake if I become leader. Thank you.
Next question from J.D. Riley of Kingston and Surbiton. How do you view the likely impact of Ed Miliband's election as leader of the Labour Party on the future for politics in Britain? And how does the election of a trade union-backed leader square with the reported surge of support for Labour in the polls? And that is David's question.
Well, I have to say I was following the Labour conference with great interest, and it's funny, isn't it, the favourite didn't win. So, ladies and gentlemen, I was going to say Ed is an interesting one. I mean, I think the fact that Kinnock and Harriet Harman were salivating and clapping madly when he won says all you need to know about where the Labour Party is going to go. It's going to go more to the left. There's a big hole opening up. Centre-right. There's a lot of Labour voters who believe in prisons, actually, and they believe in defence as well, and they believe in low taxes. So let's go after them. I'm going to ask Frank to head up our social policy area and to campaign amongst working people and win over the Labour voters. When I was doing the messaging for the Norwich North and the strategy for the Norwich North by-election, our best ever success, it was the Labour voters on the council estates that came out for us, and we can win them over. So Ed Miliband is probably quite good news. Thank you.
I think what strikes me about the current batch of political leaders is that they're not real people. They go to school, often a rather expensive school. They go to university and they're in student politics. They then go to a think tank. They then go to another university in student politics. They then go to the research department and then become an MP or an MEP. They're not real people. They've never had a proper job. And Ed Miliband is one of those. We are a party of real people. We can connect with real people. That's our job in the next few years. We should smash these politicians who are not real people. Thank you.
You've got to commend him for that, because what he's saying there is really true. A lot of our politicians, our leaders, are people, but not with it. They're not including themselves in the everyday situations of people's lives. And this is one of the policies things that's going on today in society that I intend to address. And just by sitting here, it makes life very different. There are many people who can identify with me, be you black, white, or indifferent. But my inclusion in this party will attract a lot of people. It will attract a lot of the black and ethnic community. It will attract those who are disaffected and feel they're not included in politics today. And this is what we want, to open the party up to all members of society and get them on board so they can be represented. And this is where it starts. Thank you.
The leadership campaign was good for Labour. That's why they're up in the polls. And of course remember that Miliband did not win under first past the post and under a preferential system, another reason perhaps why we should contemplate AB. Tim is spot on. These three leaders of these three so-called main parties are virtually identical. Identical in backgrounds and identical in political views. They all support the EU, they all support the climate change agenda, they all don't think criminals should go to prison. You can't put a cigarette paper between them on major policy issues. And what UKIP has to do is to have the antidote to that, and so it's up to you.
I'm the antidote.
You've got to choose. You've got to choose. Wait for it. You've got to choose the leader that will be the contrast to those. You need somebody who's succeeded in the real world, you need somebody with charisma, you need somebody with personality, and you need somebody with colour.
Thank you. How to move on from that. Next question is Garner from Croydon. How will you ensure that there is true joint communication between leadership and members to ensure